Right, so we're diving into Genesis chapter 30.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite the story.
Oh, yeah.
It's Jacob, and he's worked for years to marry Rachel, the woman he loved, but ends up with her sister Leah, too.
Oh, it's one of those.
And as you know,
Yeah,
things can get really messy
they do.
when you've got family dynamics, ambition, and all these ancient traditions.
Right, you throw all that in the mix, all coming into play at once.
And it's interesting because you see that
Yeah.
this story really highlights this intense pressure that women in that time, in that place, faced to produce children,
Right.
especially sons.
Especially sons.
Their value and standing in society were so closely tied to bearing male heirs. You can imagine the weight of that expectation.
It's hard to even fathom.
Yeah.
Because, so when Rachel finds herself unable to conceive,
Right.
while her sister Leah is seemingly effortlessly having children, it's not just personal disappointment for Rachel, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's a social blow.
Yeah, it's huge.
Almost like a public declaration of inadequacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it drives her to some pretty extreme measures.
It really does. And this is where we see that ancient practice of surrogacy.
Oh, okay.
Using maidservants to bear children in their mistress's place.
Right.
It might seem shocking to us now,
Yeah?
but this was a common practice back then.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
so Rachel offers her maidservant Bilhah to Jacob as a wife.
That's right.
And Bilhah does bear two sons, Dan and Naphtali.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm seeing how Rachel's choices are infused with her emotions.
Yes.
She names Dan Judgment, perhaps feeling like, okay, God has finally heard her pleas,
Right.
vindicated in some way.
Yeah.
And then Naphtali, meaning my wrestling,
Yeah.
reveals that internal struggle
Yes.
she's been going through.
Totally. Yeah, it's almost as if
Yeah.
she's projecting her own emotional journey onto these children.
Wow.
And of course, Leah, seeing all this happening,
Right.
not about to be left behind.
Of course not, no.
She offers her own maid, Zilpah, to Jacob.
Oh, wow.
And the baby boom just keeps going.
Yeah, so it becomes this
Like a competition.
fascinating, if somewhat unsettling contest between these sisters. It's like every son represents another point scored,
Right.
another marker of their place within the family,
Yes.
and of course their social standing.
Exactly. And it's such a strong reminder
Yeah.
that personal relationships were completely intertwined with power dynamics,
Yeah.
social expectations.
You're right.
We can't just look at this as some, petty rivalry.
Yeah.
It's about survival,
Right.
legacy,
Mhm.
ensuring your place in the world.
And then there's this
Oh, yeah.
this strange incident
Right.
with Reuben,
Mhm.
Leah's son, finding mandrakes, these plants that are believed to boost fertility.
Yes.
I mean, Rachel's reaction, it's almost comical.
I know, right?
She is so desperate for these mandrakes that she makes a deal with Leah,
Unbelievable.
offering to let Jacob spend the night with Leah in exchange.
For the mandrakes, yeah.
It's wild.
A night with your husband, right?
Yeah.
For some potentially magical herbs.
Yeah.
But it really shows just how desperate these women were.
Right.
But it also speaks to the cultural beliefs surrounding fertility.
Right.
These potent plants.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about having children.
Right.
It was this perceived power that they held in society.
So Leah agrees, gets pregnant again, gives birth to two more sons.
Two more, that's right.
Issachar and Zebulun.
Yeah.
And again, the name she chooses.
I know. Tell me about it.
They're interesting too.
They are.
Issachar meaning wages.
Right.
And I wonder if that maybe indicates that Leah sees these sons as a reward.
Yeah, like a reward for her cleverness.
For her cleverness?
Right.
In the mandrake deal.
Exactly.
And then Zebulun meaning dwelling, perhaps reflecting her belief that she has secured Jacob's favor.
Yeah.
And he'll spend more time with her.
Just like she's keeping score in this rivalry,
Yeah.
using her children as a way to mark her triumphs.
Right.
Assert her place in the family.
So I guess the question is
Yeah.
this truly about personal satisfaction for Leah? Or is it this deeper reflection of insecurity that comes from living in a world where your worth is tied to your ability to produce sons?
That's the question.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder,
What about Jacob?
yeah, where's Jacob in all this?
Yeah.
Is he just a passive bystander
Right.
in this whole,
In all this,
competition?
yeah, is he manipulating the situation?
Yeah.
Is it to his advantage?
Yeah.
That's what we need to uncover.
Yeah.
Because amid all this family drama,
Right.
Jacob's been working diligently for his father-in-law, Laban,
Right.
building a life for this, a constantly growing family.
Right.
It's a lot to manage.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how amidst all this drama
I know, right?
between these sisters, we almost forget about Jacob.
Yeah. Where is he?
Right. He's been working for his father-in-law, Laban, all these years.
That's right.
And now he has this huge family to provide for.
They're going all the time.
It's a lot going on.
It really is.
Yeah.
And Jacob's story adds another layer of complexity to this whole situation.
Right.
Because he's not just this husband got between two wives.
Yeah.
He's got his own ambitions.
Yeah.
You can see his strategic mind at work
Yeah.
as this thing unfolds.
Okay. So after all these years and all these kids, Jacob decides it's time to go home.
Right. Time to go home.
He wants to take his wives, his children, all that he's earned with him.
Yeah, but leaving Laban.
Right.
Not that simple.
Yeah.
They strike this bargain.
Okay.
Where Jacob agrees to tend Laban's flocks.
Okay.
But in exchange for the speckled and spotted sheep and goats that are born.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
So in a way, Jacob's kind of using
I was just thinking that.
the same cleverness we see in the sisters.
Totally.
He's negotiating this deal.
Yeah, he is.
That gives him a chance to build his own wealth and security.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
And that's where we see Jacob's resourcefulness come into play.
Okay.
He actually uses some tactics
Oh, wow.
to manipulate the breeding patterns of the flocks to make sure he gets more of the
Oh, wait.
speckled and spotted animals.
Oh, my gosh. He's really
Playing the long game here.
playing the long game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not just reacting.
Just shaping his own destiny.
He is shaping his destiny.
Mhm.
So, but I'm curious, like, what about Rachel in all this?
Yeah, good question.
Does she ever get to experience motherhood herself?
Her story takes a turn.
Okay.
After years of longing and heartache,
Mm-hmm.
the text tells us that God remembers Rachel.
Okay, I've always found that phrase a bit puzzling
I know what you mean.
because it's not as if God actually forgot about her, right?
Right, of course not.
It seems more about, like,
Divine timing.
divine timing,
Intervention,
intervention.
Yeah, the narrative really emphasizes
Yeah.
that God heard Rachel's prayers,
Right.
but chose to act at a specific time.
So it's not just about Rachel's struggle
Right.
with infertility. It's about
Trust.
trusting in a greater plan
Yes, exactly.
and having faith that things will happen in their own time.
It's hard,
Yeah,
especially when you're in that place of waiting.
absolutely.
But when she does finally conceive
Yes.
and gives birth to a son,
Yeah.
the name she chooses,
Yeah.
it speaks volumes.
Okay.
Joseph, which means he will add.
Wow, that's so powerful.
It's powerful.
Because it's not just the joy,
It's the hope,
the faith. Yeah.
the faith, the
Yeah.
belief that this is just the beginning.
It's not the end.
Right.
And, Joseph goes on to play a crucial role
Right.
in the history of the Israelites. Of course. Yeah.
But even before Joseph's rise,
Yeah.
the dynamics within Jacob's family,
Yeah.
they continue to shift,
Right.
to evolve.
So with Rachel finally having a son of her own,
Yeah,
how does that impact her relationship with Leah?
right. What happens there?
Do we see a resolution?
Right. Do they finally like each other?
Or does it just, morph into something else?
Good question.
Okay, so we've seen this intense desire to have kids and, the rivalries, ambitions in this family.
Yeah.
Even Jacob being pretty shrewd in securing his own future.
Right.
But I guess I'm still wondering, like, what's it all mean? What
Yeah.
are we supposed to take away from this deep dive into Genesis?
That's the thing with these ancient stories, right? They just
Mhm.
offer these layers of meaning that we can keep unpacking.
Right.
On one level, it's like a
Yeah.
window into the social norms and anxieties of
Yeah.
a time that's so different from our own.
Right, like we're getting this anthropology lesson,
Yeah, exactly.
but with a lot more drama
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and emotion.
Way more interesting than a textbook.
Yeah, we see how important sons were
Right.
for inheritance, for
Right.
social standing. We see how polygamy and surrogacy
Yeah,
played a role in all these family dynamics.
it's all there.
But it's also like so much more than that.
It totally transcends the historical context.
Mhm.
This story is really about, I think, universal human experiences.
Okay.
The longing for love and acceptance,
Yeah.
the pain of infertility,
Mhm.
the sting of jealousy, the
Right.
drive to feel secure and successful.
It's all very relatable.
It is. These themes resonate across cultures and time periods.
Absolutely. And then there's this...
that spiritual dimension.
Yeah, the spiritual dimension woven throughout the story.
It's there.
It makes you think about how God works, you know?
Yeah.
Not always in these obvious, flashy ways.
It's subtle.
But subtly influencing events.
Yeah. Responding to prayers.
Yeah.
And ultimately shaping destinies.
It makes you wonder...
I know.
...how much of our lives is determined by fate.
Yeah.
And how much is shaped by our choices, you know?
Yeah, because Jacob and his wives made these decisions, right?
They did.
Some driven by love, some by desperation.
Some by ambition.
Ambition, yeah.
And those choices had lasting consequences.
They did.
Not only for them,
right,
but generations to come.
It's almost like those ripples in the water.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah, and it makes you think about, like, our own actions and choices today.
That's right.
How they might...
impact the future.
Yeah, impact those who come after us. It's pretty humbling.
It is. It is.
It really is.
So as you think about this, this deep dive into Jacob's family, think about the legacies you've inherited.
Okay.
The rivalries you might be navigating.
Right.
The ambitions that you're striving for.
Yeah.
How are these forces shaping your life? It's a big question.
It is a big question.
Yeah.
And what kind of impact do you want to leave on the world?
Wow. Well, with those thought-provoking questions...
I know. Lots to think about.
We've reached the end of this deep dive.
I can't believe it.
But, you know, this ancient story reminds us that the human drama, the complex relationships, you know, this interplay of ambition and fate...
all of it,
it's timeless.
It is.
It's universal.
It is.
And so, keep exploring.
Keep asking those questions.
Keep asking questions, and join us next time.
We'll be here.
As we take another deep dive into the fascinating depths of knowledge.